are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio once again. We are here today, and just like any other time, we have another amazing show for y'all to, if you get hungry, I apologize in advance, because I was watching this stuff when I was doing my homework. I was getting hungry myself. I mean, we have a special guest, Erica D. Arcangelo. She is the author of A Story About Pizza. She has an amazing website that showcases not just the story that inspires this book, but you're going to find some very fun facts on just good Italian pizza, like authentic, real deal. Go to her website, storyaboutpizza.com. But we're going to not just talk about her book when we talk about what the story focuses on. And also we're going to just learn everything about what it was like growing up in Italy and embracing the cultural traditions. So first and foremost, Erica, thank you for your time. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate your time being here. So let's kind of jump into the book process, because I know this was something that you were working on. There's a lot of facts, a lot of history tied to this. What inspired you to say, you know what, I want to talk about my family and talk about this amazing pizza that they make? Because it's more than pizza. It goes deeper than that.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few years ago, my dad had heart surgery. And I was living in Tampa and I had a marketing company, and I thought, you know what, I need to go home. So my family and I moved back for the year, and my dad was just recovering. And I thought it would be really good for him to get out of the house and go into our family pizzeria. So I said, hey, let's go together. I'll help you with marketing. You can, just go in, get out of the house. And he was so grumpy. He was like, I don't believe in marketing. And I was like, whatever, let's just, let's just go spend some time together. It'll be fine. And so the drive was about 20 minutes there and back. And we would drive there and back together, and we would talk about our family and old stories. And I would get there and I would film content and film pizza and look at all the memorabilia. And I just became really inspired by my grandfather's story, because he came over from Abruzzo, Italy. He had nothing. He was a coal miner. He worked in the coal mines a lot of his life. And I just really felt like it was a story that needed to be told.
Your mom also has rich history too. I believe when I watched the interview you did with both of your parents on your own podcast, she told her side of her family. Can you share a little bit about your mom's background as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So funny enough, both of my parents were from Wimber, PA. And in Wimber, PA, you had most of the people there were immigrants, and they worked in the coal mines. And on the east end of Wimber, you had the Italians, and it was Little Italy. And then on the west side of Wimber, you had the Polish, the Irish, and the Slovakians. And my mom was Polish and Irish. And so it was a very similar upbringing. And my parents met when they were in high school. And my mom actually started working at the pizzeria when she was like 14. And so that's kind of how the whole thing began, because the pizzeria was a high school hangout. And so my mom has been involved with the pizzeria for almost as long as my dad has.
And when they both met, she literally took her friends, if I remember correctly, to the pizzeria. And I thought that was an amazing story, because she shared a little bit about how your father's family, side of the family, was very warm and welcoming to her and her friends.
Yeah, my grandparents were warm and welcoming to every single person. I remember having Christmas Eve, and they would invite people that weren't even related to us that just needed a place to go for Christmas Eve. And so we ended up having 40, 50, 60 people at Christmas Eve. And they just loved bringing people in, and they loved feeding people. And they were just those kind of individuals.
When you think about the history of Italian food, what do you think sometimes could be overlooked when discussing Italian American heritage, and just how you see food play a role in bringing the community together?
Well, I think one of the things is that so many people bring the food in from their regions, and all the different regions of Italy have different traditions and different foods. And so, what I was maybe raised with as a food may be different than somebody else from a different part of Italy.
People love food. Because I know I do. I mean, I know I look a little skinny, but you know what I'm saying? I walk it off. That's my secret. But
me too.
no one can deny a good Italian pizza. Kind of share a little bit about what are some of the things that you've seen your parents, how they operate the business, and just spending time with the ingredients, the freshness of Italian pizza, because I'm gonna get hungry when I let you talk, but it's magical because I saw the intro on your website, and it's like I can almost smell it off the screen. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, wow, this is such rich history right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, like, I do the marketing for my parents' pizzeria, and it's tough because like I'm posting pizza every day. So then my husband will be like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, pizza. He's like, again? I'm like, yeah, like I'm hungry for pizza. But what I see is that, so my mom became a master gardener. And so she grows the San Marzano tomatoes, and she grows all the vegetables, and there's fresh basil, and like really taking those ingredients and implementing those things in the pizzeria so everything is fresh. Like the dough's made fresh every day. The cheese is grated fresh every day. The sauce is made, and you can really taste that come through on the pizza.
People, when it comes to family, passing down not just recipes, but secret recipes, if you will. When you look at the success that's been sustained with your family, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Have y'all been able to protect the secret techniques that been able to not just feed the countless communities that you've been able to feed, but also have the ability to just enjoy the amount of success that you've been able to have with your Italian pizza?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it takes a lot of work. Like my dad goes to Italy a couple times a year, every year. He really looks at what the recipes were that my family made, and he really tries to replicate that. Like he went to Italy and he actually learned how to make focaccia so that the focaccia could be really authentic, and they make that homemade every day. Or like my Aunt Rose used to make these amazing meatballs, and so he decided to do the meatball appetizer or the homemade chicken cutlets. And these are all things that were like, you know, had been passed down, that we really try to make sure they taste exactly the same.
Once again, you're listening to Refocus Radio and watching us online, talking to our special guest today, Eric D'Arcangelo, author of A Story About Pizza, astoryaboutpizza.com. You can go there and get the book and learn more about her amazing history and learn more about her parents. She also has a podcast that we can talk a little bit about. But getting back to just the culture, when you look at how you've been able to introduce America to authentic Italian, you and your family. I mean, we have other places that kind of, you know, they try to act like they do Italian food, but what do you believe has played a role in just the massive success? Because I saw the TikTok, y'all have like millions of views on your videos. What do you believe, the heart of the success when you be able to see how here in America, they have really opened up their arms to your family business?
Well, I think a lot of it is that, you know, my grandfather immigrated with a lot of other people in the community. And so when he opened the business, you know, he was known and he was respected because he worked in the coal mines with a lot of these people. And now even like the great sons and daughters and the grandsons and daughters come in and eat at the pizzeria. So I think it's being well known, but also the pizzeria was popular, but it wasn't known like super well outside the community until we really started to do the marketing. And then once the TikTok went viral, and then, you know, people, they travel all around and they go and they eat pizza. I mean, I do it when I'm somewhere. I'm looking like, where's the best pizza? Let's go to a bunch of pizza places. So we've seen a lot of new business and a lot of new support from people who just saw us on TikTok that will come in and be like, hey, I saw you guys on TikTok, which we really love.
I mean, I was reading the comments because it's crazy because it's like I was watching a movie. It just kept getting bigger story and even better as I kept preparing for this interview today. But by the way, here in the States, people can go to theartpizza.com if you locally want to support the business here in the States. But I love the fact that your father's he's just this calm, caring, loving person. I remember in the interview when he was interviewing your parents, he talked about how in business in Italy, there was a business nearby down the street that will sell pasta, but out of respect, they wouldn't, focus on selling pasta as well. They focus more on pizza and other things. So kind of touch on that, just on the fact that your father had a certain way of how he wanted to run business as a professional as well.
Sure. So, I mean, my father, and really started with my grandfather, was like, we have Little Italy on the east side of Wimber, and we have the different Italian restaurants there. We have Rizzo's, and they make amazing pasta. And then we have Leone's, which has been open for over 100 years, and they do subs. And so we have this very much of a camaraderie with the other businesses where we help each other, we support each other. We always eat at each other's businesses. Like, I remember on a Saturday, my grandma, we'd be hungry. My grandma would be like, "You guys want a Leone sub?" And we're like, "Yeah." Or like Saturday night, we'd go to dinner and my grandma would be like, "You want to go to Rizzo's and get some pasta?" And we were like, "Yeah, we want to go." Like even now, when we go home, we'll get a Leone sub. We'll go to Rizzo's. We like to support each other's businesses. And I mean, I even will be at my parents' business and I'll see the owner of Rizzo's sitting at the bar having a meatball appetizer. So it's just really cool that I think we have that group there, and it's been there for 60, 70, 100 years like that.
Now I want to get to the fun part where people are going to get super hungry and want to grab a piece after this. For you, Erica, when you think about your favorite toppings on pizza, do you have a special combination that is your signature personally, or that your father has, or kind of touch on that and maybe the different styles that you see as popular from Italy that Americans are starting to appreciate or have been appreciating?
Yeah, absolutely. So my favorite pizza, which is funny, is our traditional tray. It's our 15 slices, rectangular pizza, plain pizza. I get it every single time I go there. Now, funny enough, we started making a Mike's pie, which is a round, thin pizza. And I was hungry one day. I was at the pizza shop. My dad was like, "I'm going to make you a special pizza." And I was like, "Okay." So he literally makes me a pizza, and it's a Mike's pie. And he does hot peppers, pepperoni, a little bit of salami, and black olives. And it was probably one of the best pizzas I've ever had in my life. And I called the Emery Special now. I actually just posted it on their wall on Instagram, I think yesterday, because I was like hungry for it. And that's probably right now is like my favorite.
I'm sorry to my audience. I know your stomach is growling right now. You're probably thinking, "Man, I need to hurry up and get some of this pizza." Well, like I said, go to theartpizza.com. And I'm telling you, that's a business you definitely want to support if you're here in the States. But also, tying back to Erica's website, a story about pizza.com. We've been discussing the book, A Story About Pizza. And I think it's special when you are able to cement yourself in history, if you will, because not only are you making sure that the story of your family is being told for generations, but is like a legendary story. I mean, it's powerful to start from humble beginnings to seeing how successful one can be, in your case, multiple generations. How important was it for you to share the news with your family that you was going to write this book, and what was their reaction learning about your project?
It was interesting because I hadn't done anything like that before. So, when I first told them, they were all really interested. I have, my parents, I have 4 brothers and sisters. There's 5 kids in my family. We're all like 2 years apart. And every single person was very supportive about it and really wanted to read it. And my dad contributed a lot. We talked a lot about the stories, and I interviewed him and my mom. And so when I finished it, it was emotional just because it really took them back to the memories of my grandparents and like specifically of my grandfather.
When you look at running business today, you mentioned about marketing, helping marketing with your father and your mother. What do you believe are some challenges that family-run pizzerias specifically face in today's marketing and trying to keep their own traditional alive?
I think that it's really underestimated how much work it takes to do marketing. And really like what it takes to have a successful business, because you can have the most amazing pizza and the best pizzeria. But if no one knows who you are, then it's going to be tricky to keep the doors open. So I think it's that and balancing business, training good people, making sure you have good people that stay within your business. And these are challenges that, my dad and I talk about that he faces. And especially with the marketing, like I know when I first started, they don't have the budget to hire me as like a regular marketer. Like if I have my company and I have my clients just for a small family owned business, but I stepped in, it's my family. Of course, I'm going to help them. And I think that becomes tricky sometimes for people with small businesses is where should they spend their marketing money? If they can afford a person to market and really how they can do it. Now, the good thing is we have places like TikTok. We have places like Instagram, and if they can film content, there's people out there. Like we had the at Pizza on Instagram. He has a huge page. He helped us out. He hooked us up because we were a small family owned business. So there's people out there that will do that because they want to see, family owned businesses succeed.
And that was going to be my next question is, what was the secret formula that got y'all's millions of views on multiple videos on TikTok? So I know a lot of TikTok users out there are passionate about trying to make content creation. What's the secret sauce? What'd you do?
Okay, so I started the TikTok and I was trying all these different things. I was doing narrating videos. I was doing all these different ones. So then one day I was like, you know what? I'm in the kitchen. We make like 100 pizzas a night. I'm just going to film some pizza cutting. Just cutting the pizza. Let's just see how it does. Posted it, went to bed, woke up, had 1 million views. I was like, okay. I was like, this is easy. I can stand back here and I can record this all day. So I started doing that. And I think that the thing is some people think like, oh, it's boring or what I do is boring. You have to look at like, no one does what you do. And you have to record the process of what you do, keep it simple. But the other thing too, is you have to keep posting. Like so many people, they'll post a couple times and be like, oh, I give up. I'm not getting anything. I mean, I posted a lot of videos before we had a viral video. And even now, like I probably don't post there as much as I should, but there were times I was posting like every single day. And even with my book, sometimes I post 2 times a day. Like you have to just keep putting content out and it's a lot of work.
One of the videos that I saw that went viral on the TikTok page was the square pizza. And It was very natural. It wasn't any editing at all. It was no editing. You hear it cut, him cutting it. And I was reading the comments, people like, that is what's I'm hearing in my brain. It's funny. Like the comment section is funny because it's so natural and people are just vibing to that. That is so powerful because like you said, a lot of times people are just trying to find that magic pill. If I just press this one button, voila, I'm going to go viral. But I think people gravitate to those videos because they're so real and they're so natural. And not just that, if they go research about the history of the brand itself, that's the golden secret sauce because without the storytelling, like I went to your website on the homepage, right? And I watched the video. I'm like, wow, this is like crazy. And from that video, I probably spent at least 45 minutes on your site. And I watched your podcast about your parents. I said, you know what? She got a podcast. Let me listen to this. And as soon as your father and mother was sharing their story when he started it, and then she chimed in. Yeah. I watched the whole thing. And I love it. The reason why I had to point that out is because even with your podcast video, it's no editing. It's just simple natural, no open, no close. It was just buy and the video stop, I don't know. I'm saying you really get marketing. That's all I got to say, because there's proof in the pudding. I mean, millions on multiple videos. I got to plug your website again. Go to dartpizza.com for the local family business doing pizza here in the United States. But also go to Erica's website, astoryaboutpizza.com. I want to push that because we live in a time where businesses all over, not just United States, but around the world, they're trying to crack that code. They're trying to see what is it that is there a special formula? Do I have to talk in this kind of way, or do I have to look in this kind of way? What will be your words of wisdom that has worked, not just your family business, but whoever's watching this and say, you know what, maybe if I just turn the dial a little bit, here's some couple things I can focus on moving forward.
Sure, absolutely. So, I'll be honest with you. Before I started doing the marketing for my parents' business, I was really burnt out on marketing. I was like, I really feel like I need a renewed purpose to do this. And so what I learned and what I think people can take away from this is that to be authentic and to be yourself and to tell your story, because that is a different story than anybody else has. And so I think sometimes what will happen is like, oh, maybe I'll do this because this person's doing it, or this looks cool. What works for someone else might not work for you. But what is your value proposition? Like, what do you bring in that is unique? Like, my family's pizzeria. Grandfather is an immigrant. He's from Italy. Comes in, he's a coal miner. He has nothing. He builds this business that's a legacy for his family. It's open 65 years. It's still family owned. That's a different story than anyone else's. So someone else could take that with theirs and be like, okay, this is where I'm from. This is why I'm doing this. And this is the value that I offer that no one else has.
Once again, listen to Refocus Radio and watching us online, talking to our guest today, Erica D'Arcangelo, author of A Story About Pizza, astoryaboutpizza.com, and go to her parents' website, dartpizza.com. Telling you, you might lick the screen because the food looks amazing. I'm not even sure, man. It's always great to cover stories like this because this is the first time I get to interview someone with authentic Italian pizza. If you had anything that you can do in 2025, like there's no limits whatsoever, what would you want to accomplish this year and why?
Oh, so many things. Okay, so what I really want, my life goal is to be a New York Times bestselling author. And I would love to do it with this book because it's very meaningful to me. So
let's do it.
I know that's the plan. And I'm doing another novel on Italian Christmases that's going to be out around Christmas. So I really want to finish that and for people to love it and for it to be inspirational and moving for people.
I love it. I want to say to everyone who hears this, and whether you see it on YouTube or hear it on the podcast radio, please do us a favor at Refocus Radio and support Erica's book, because I'm going to get it myself. I'm going to take a screenshot. I'm going to post it for proof because I have a TikTok page and you can hold me to it. You put me to the fire. I'm going to get it myself. Is it available on Amazon? You can get on Amazon. So I'm going to get it. I'm going to post it. And I'm going to start the movement because I think it's a beautiful story. It's so awesome for a family to stay together and not just love each other because, that's not always the case, but it's beautiful that is the case. And I want you to really accomplish that goal. I think that's a great goal. You also have, I saw on your website, you have a coloring book that people can get as well. Tell us a little bit about the coloring book.
So what happened with Coloring Book is I decided to launch a children's series based on the first book. And the first book is called Pietro's Pizza, and the coloring book goes along with the children's book, and it has all different kinds of pictures about pizza and follows the initial story of the children's book.
That's awesome. Well, once again, I can't believe time is already going by so fast, but people want to support you, your book, make it a best time seller. I'm telling you, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And also support your parents. What are the best ways that they can continue to show their love and support for everything you all are doing?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much. Like, this has been so supportive. But if anyone wants to go to astoryaboutpizza.com, or if you're ever in Western PA, please stop in at DRX Pizza. They're open Thursday through Sunday from 3 to 9.
Awesome. Well, with that, you've been watching Refocus Radio and listening to us wherever you hear podcasts or radio, but also been talking to our special guest today, Erica D'Artangelo, author of A Story About Pizza, Pizza. It got tongue tied. A Story About Pizza.com. A Story About Pizza.com. And big shout out to your parents. Make sure you support their website as well, theartpizza.com. Get that delicious food. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. So once again, I want to say thank you, Erica, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.